All right, so we want to start playing around with, and my screen looks funny because I'm in presentation mode, so you can see it better. We want to, let's open up Atom. We want to first kind of review what's going on because we're going to start doing more stuff with the code that we know. We've learned about primitive data types, that there's really like 8 plus string. That I have, there's basically like 4 categories. I have string and char, which are used for letters, words, and dialogue. Char is specifically just for letters. Int, byte, short, and long are variable types that only hold whole numbers. Depending on the type will depend on how big or how small the number can be. Byte holds the least amount, then short, then int, then long. Okay, so I can have really big numbers with long, but I can only have up to like 127 with byte. Float and double are our decimal types, but you have to be careful about rounding errors. They are not the most accurate. They go out to a number of decimal places, but when they stop, they don't round up or round down. They just cut the numbers off. So you could have rounding errors if you're needing to be super precise. Boolean is used for when we want something that's only true or false, and that is going to play in huge when we start doing a bunch of different types of games. Okay, new stuff that we're going to learn in this video. We're going to learn about math operations. Obviously, I mean, we know them, but how to do it in code. We have addition, we have subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those are pretty self-explanatory. If I want to do the symbol for it, addition, it's the plus sign. Subtraction, it's the subtraction sign. Multiplication, it's the star sign. Division, it's the slash. Modulus is the only one that's a little bit different than what we are used to. Okay, modulus is used when we are wanting to find the remainder of something. So division, which you'll see, is looking for what goes in, and depending on what type I use, if I'm doing 12 divided by 3, it's going to give me the number 4. That's, you know, how many times it goes in. But if I'm using an int and I'm dividing and I say 13 divided by 4, I'm still only going to get 3. It's going to chop off any decimals. Okay, so I have to be careful about what types I'm using with the math. Now, division is giving us how many times it goes in. But if we want to focus on what is the remainder, that's what modulus is. And I can use modulus by using the percent sign. Okay, this is focused only on the remainder. And an example of this, if I say, what time is it? 8 hours past 7 o'clock. Okay, so if I went 7 plus 3 or 7 plus 8, that is giving me 15. Now in military time, that would be pretty common because that's how we represent 3 p.m. in military time. It's 1500. But we know that there are 12 hours in a day. So modulus would basically go 15 minus 12, that equals 3. Okay, that is the remainder. 15 divided by 12 would be 1, which we don't really care about. Remainder 3. Okay, so 15 minus 12, 15 modulus 12 is looking at what is the leftover piece. That would be a type of math that I would use. It's not really taught common anymore, but it is still used a lot in code. Okay, so let's see what that looks like when we start playing around with it. So let's go to our MathTester, and this is going to be kind of like your playground for testing out a number of math ideas. So we need to create a class in here to be able to start working. The source folder is where our classes are going to go. So I'm going to right click on source, and I'm going to go to New Java Class. Okay. I could also have it highlighted and go to File, New Java Class. There's a number of ways that I can do it. Okay. New Java Class. Okay, now this one I'm going to just call MathTester instead of just going main, because the main method that we use to see all of our code, that can be anywhere. We just have to say to the program where it is. So let's go ahead and write that here. We're going to go public static void main lowercase, put a parentheses, I type string, left square bracket, right square bracket, args, and then I finish it off with a set of curly braces. That is my main method. I have to have at least one in my program. So wherever it is, I have to have at least just one. Okay? Now, I'll give some space, and we want to, well, what we learned already is that we can create some variables that we call strings, and I can call it, let's say, let's call it first word. I'm going to use camel humping. So that means that the second and every subsequent word is going to have a capital letter. And I'm going to declare that. Let's do another one, string, and I'm going to call this one second word. I declare that. So now I'm going to initialize them. And I can say first word equals, and let's just call this dog. And you do it in quotes, dog. And second word is equal to, let's call it house. Finish it off. Now, if I'm printing system.out.print line, if I'm printing this and I say first word plus second word, it looks like we're doing math on it. But when we're dealing with something like strings, what it does is it's like two train cars getting put together. It's not adding them together, it's just combining them. So if I run this, it's going to combine those into one word. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to run. I'm going to run, and then I have to say which class has the main method in it, this main method right here, which is MathTester. Let's go ahead and run it. Let's get rid of that. All right. So see that? It didn't add it, it just put it together, dog house. Okay? Now, I can show it a different way. So if we start using a variable, so let's declare some more. Let's use an int. Int, so we want a number, a whole number, and I can just call this one, let's call it first number. And if I have a bunch of the same type, check this out. I can put a comma between them because I can say, hey, I have all of these variable names that are all of type int, and I can put them all in the same line. So I could have first number, second number, and that is recognized, that is good code. It may make it a little bit less readable, so you need to be careful with it, okay? Now I could initialize them, so I can say first number, let's say that equals 5, second number, and notice I'm not putting it in quotes anymore, let's say that equals 10. Now, if I wanted to do a print, let's print another line, and now I want to print the first word, and I want to print the first number. Okay? Now, let's see what this actually prints. When we are doing two words together, it just combines them. what happens when we have a word and a number. So let's check that out. All right, look, we still got doghouse. That was from our first line. Our second line, we got dog and 5. Okay, so whenever you have a string involved with numbers, it's going to just combine them together. If I wanted to add, so let's say I wanted to add the second number. If I wanted this to print out and I didn't want it to say dog 510 because it's still not going to add it. Let's go ahead and run it one more time so we can see what it does. This is a big confusion that a lot of students have, and it's not really bad. If I have a string involved, then it's just combining them. Okay, I have 510. I didn't add them together. If I want to add them together, then I'm going to have to put them inside of parentheses, just like what we do in any normal math problem if we want the order of operations to matter. So if I want these to be added first before being put to this, then I can run that. So let's go ahead and see it again. So now it should say dog and 15. See, so it actually added it now. Okay, so let's do some operations so we can see what it is. Let's go ahead and print out, and we're going to write some phrases in here. All right, so the first number plus the second number is, and then I can just add it. So first number plus second number. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one so we can see what it does. Computer's freezing up. All right. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Okay. So if I copy that line again, let's go down here. We go first number minus the second number, just like what we expect. And I can put the minus in there. Let's go ahead and copy it again. Let's do second number divided by the first number. So in our math, it's the same thing. Second number divided by the first number. And you can build off this and do some really complex math. Okay, so we need a multiplication. First number times the second number is first number times the second number. And then we have modulus. The modulus of the second number by the first number. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Now notice here that this plus is outside of the quote, so that means it's concatenating. It's shoving those words together. Is, and I'm going to do this, second number modulus first number. All it is the remainder. Okay, that is all of our operations right there. let's go ahead and run, and then we can play around with actually building some equations. So we should have a number of things that are printing out, and we can see what they're doing. Okay, so here is first number plus the second number is 15. Yep, that makes sense. First number minus the second number, we got -5. 5 minus 10 is -5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. That works. First number times the second number is 50. 5 times 10 is 50. The modulus of the second number by the first number, so 10 divided by 5, but we only care about the remainder, so 10 modulus 5 is 0. There is nothing left over. Okay? Now, let's look at, so I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. So I can go to code, and I can go comment with a block comment. So now that's no longer going to print. What we want to play around with is, let's say I do the total. So here's the thing of where math operations don't work backwards. So if I have, let's say, another int, and I say total, and I initialize it, total equals first number plus second number. Okay. What I'm looking at, it says variable first number may not have been initialized. Second number may not have been initialized. Okay. The issue is because the order of when my code appears matters. I can't take the total of something that doesn't exist yet. Those numbers have not been initialized. So if I cut it out there and I put it below, it's fine. This would add up to 15 for my total. Okay. Now, if I am playing around with this and I'm printing out system.out.println, and I print the total, I am getting what the first number and the second number was. Okay. But I have to be careful, because if I am trying to print out something, or I'm capturing the total of something, and it doesn't work backwards, so I can't add to that total and have this be correct if it's out of order. So it's still printing out 15, so that's correct. But if I take total, and I assign total is 25, or let's add whatever total was, and I add 10 to it, okay? If I print, this is still only going to print 15, because it doesn't work backwards. It's not looking down and then working back up. There's ways that we can deal around with that, and you guys are going to learn that code soon enough. So total is still only 15. Now if I print it again, it's going to print 25 below it. Okay, if I did this, I would see 15 printed here, and then total would have been changed, and then I could change, it would print out the correct current total.